So you know about Paranormal Activity, right? It's the 2007 found footage movie that took the world by storm. Afterwards, there was a huge influx of found footage movies, for better or for worse. One of the more interesting ones was a Japanese movie called The Curse, but that's a different story. In 2010, there was a Japanese spin-off of Paranormal Activity called Paranormal Activity 2 Tokyo Night. Yeah, it's called 2, and I call it a spin-off, but it feels more like a remake. Because if you're not a fan of the Paranormal Activity movies, you're probably not going to like this. It still has the same story beats, it still has the same slow, gradual scares. Oh, this scene showed a door slightly opening. Will the next scene open it more? Yep, there it is. There's very little information about this movie. It was commissioned and produced by Presidico. Yep. And directed by Toshikazu Nage. It seems like it was trying to be an overseas, unofficial sequel, which is more common than you think. Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie in Europe, so Italian producers made unconnected sequels under that title. In an interview on Japanese website Cinema Today, the director said he started simultaneously with the official sequel, and was released around the same time, seeing it as a rival. He also said he wanted to make a sequel to this film, and while he never did, he did make a movie called Hoshu Kenshin, the movie, which looks like a found footage mockumentary movie about a fictional family murder. I would love to talk about it, but I can't find it anywhere. I bet they got into some legal trouble at the time. The rights were still independent, but when they were picked up by Paramount, I doubt they had the legal standing to release it. But in 2022, the new Blu-ray collection included it, so I guess it was settled. And even though it says it's a sequel, like I said, it feels like a remake in my eyes. They do a thing with Salt, they do the thing with The Exorcist, she teleports outside, broken pictures, standard stuff really. The difference here is they're brother and sister. The sister broke her leg in a car accident while she was in America, so the catch is she can't move. And like all found footage movie, the brother's obsessed with the camera. Get a hobby. There's some cool camera work they do with mirrors and angles, but it's like once or twice, so it's not breaking any new grounds with the genre, even at the time. The standout thing is what it is. It's a Japanese remake of an American horror movie. You don't see that too often. There are remakes of American movies, but I mean specifically horror. There's plenty of American remakes, but they don't do anything with them. The cultural idea of a ghost is never translated and instead just copied. But in here you have a mix of a Western-style poltergeist where the ghost haunts and possessed its victims, while also having sort of onryo aspects to it. It's exactly how an international remake should work, taking the different cultural ideas and reviewing them through a different one. This is pretty hard to do, which is why most international remakes don't work most of the time. Pulse, how the internet is slowly separating us into social anxiety. The remake? Ghosts in the internet make you kill yourself. Wow, didn't even try. In here, there's a scene where they hire a priest to cleanse the house, but it doesn't work, so they research Christian demons. Oh, if only I could read English. And like I said, it does have some experimental camera work. By that I mean adding 2 cameras at once, which is kinda revolutionary. I mean, the sequels didn't do that till years later. It does have some nice pacing. It being Japanese, I think the aspect-to-aspect style cutting works really well in a found footage medium. And some effects are pretty impressive for a found footage movie. Although with the glass half being in frame, I'm pretty sure they just smashed it with a hammer or something. Well, I'm out of ideas. Let's do a spoiler review. The sister comes to her brother's house with broken legs. She said she broke them in a car accident in America. She said last night the wheelchair moved away from her bed. So the brother has the idea to put Salt down and see what happens. Really? We're starting here? With the Salt? And doesn't tell her about the camera. Smooth. They see something blow an air compressor on it in slow motion, so he wants to put more cameras in her room. Yeah, not being a creep at all. The next night, the door slightly opens, but he promises not to put the camera in there again. It's your fault for getting your legs broken. But after arguing over the table, the glass breaks. So she wants the camera back. This time the door opens again. I guess the demon just stands there for a while, then the sheets move. The next day they have company over. Old friends, and oh yeah, one of them can sense ghosts, so no big deal. Ah, Japan, I'll never get over the cultural difference of just casually reacting to weird shit. Remember in The Ring, that guy who had a sixth sense and he just dropped it like some bricks? By the way, I can see ghosts. Oh, bet. To be fair, she does explain a little bit, so it feels a little grounded. She goes up to the room and starts seizuring? So they just up and out of here. Throws up on the couch and leaves. Rude party guests. So they call a priest to try to purify the house. And now we take off our clothes. And about 4 days it seems to work. Until it doesn't. And they find out the priest is dead. I guess Shintoism can't save him now. We also find out what happened to her. Turns out she hit Katie from the first movie, which is a little funny to me. Like, she gets possessed at the end of the movie, and the first thing that happens is she gets hit by a tourist. Also, she died. Didn't she get charged with anything? Like, second degree? Maybe she got off with technicality because she killed her husband? Anyway, the ghost starts haunting now with even more scares. I'm not showing them all because they're really only a handful. But I do want to talk about the ending. Now she gets possessed and starts walking like she's on stilts. And so the ending happens. Flings to the camera and she's gonna eat it. Oh, hey, look at that. Subversion of expectation. I like it. He takes a cab, but psych, she's in front of him and dies. Okay, admittedly, I don't know what I'm looking at here in the final shot. I know it's a morgue, but is that supposed to be the sister or the taxi driver? I don't know. Well, the sister comes in and kills him off camera, then eats it. That's the ending. Well, it's definitely not canon. Knowing that he was making this while the actual sequel was going on, what did he think would happen? It become official? Well, like I said, it was released officially on the new Blu-ray collection, but I would only recommend to pick it up if you like the other ones. It changes up little things, but not the overall formula, especially for how ambitious the sequels got. It's interesting for what it is, an Eastern remake of a Western horror movie. I think it deserves to at least be remembered. Have a happy Halloween. Also, they had a thing where they screened both versions as a double feature to 100 high school girls who voted on which was scarier. They all voted for Tokyo Night. I didn't know where to put this.